Tom Clark's 6M podcast is a Boink Studios production. And now, on with the show.
Hey, what is up? Welcome to Tom Clark's 6M podcast. I'm your host, Tom Clark, and in this episode, I'm joined by co-host Phil Lindsey. Sometimes one thing leads to another. Tell you what I mean by that. Anytime we do a show here on the 6M, I'm constantly thinking about what are we going to tackle next. Sometimes we already know. I got a pretty good idea because we've discussed something, and I've put it on the agenda, the unwritten agenda of stuff I'd like to tackle, depending on who I'm recording with. And most of the time it's Phil, and we'll just casually mention something. Maybe he will or I will, and we just go from there, right? But again, sometimes it just comes out of the blue, and other times we do have it planned out. For this episode today, this came because of the last episode where we reviewed Blades of Glory, and that movie, Mr. Will Ferrell. That got us talking about his filmography, everything he had done, the crazy run that he went on where he had one hit film after another. And the movie that we're talking about here today came up, Megamind. I'm going to tell you something, man. This is one of my favorite animated films of all time. I'd kind of forgotten how much I really enjoy this movie. And there's a lot to get into here today, but we're going to knock this out. And if you have never seen this movie, I'm telling you, man, you need to do yourself a favor and check it out because I think you'd thoroughly enjoy it, especially if you're a fan of the kind of stuff we cover here on this show. I do think you'll enjoy it. Lots of good stuff here. Great voice cast. The story is freaking awesome, and we'll get there. Man, I love this movie. And I'd forgotten how much I did till I watched it today again for the first time in a long time. So let's jump into it. Megamind is a 2010 American animated superhero comedy film produced by DreamWorks Animation and Pacific Data Images and distributed by Paramount Pictures. Directed by Tom McGrath from a screenplay by Alan Schoolcraft and Brent Simons, the film stars the voices of Will Ferrell, we said before, plus several other folks that we're going to talk about here today. This movie tells the story of Megamind, a highly intelligent alien supervillain. After defeating his longtime nemesis Metro Man, Megamind creates a new hero to fight, but must act to save the city when his creation becomes an even worse villain than he was. I'm telling you, it's good, kids. If that doesn't grab you, nothing will. This movie distributed by Paramount Pictures. As we said before, DreamWorks Animation is the studio behind it. Released October 28th, 2010 in Russia, and November 5th, 2010 in the United States. Total running time of 96 minutes. The budget for this film, $130 million. The box office, $321.9 million. That is your lowdown for Megamind. So, Phil, we did the Blades of Glory episode. It got us talking about Ferrell, all the other stuff he's done. We haven't talked about Ferrell a whole lot here on the 6M. But I really wanted to tackle this one, because I know you said that you enjoyed this film also. How long has it been since you've seen Megamind?
Man, I haven't seen it in a long time. I realized I hadn't seen it in a long time when I turned it on.
Yeah, it's been a long time for me too. My kid was growing up watching all kinds of movies, and he grew up watching this one. So we saw it a bunch. We had it on DVD and played the crap out of it. He was stuck on it for a long time, but I thoroughly enjoy this too. Like a lot of other movies we cover here, Phil, it didn't have a sequel, but except, as I told you today, Peacock has released 2 other Megamind projects. First time there was nothing else that came after this, I don't believe. Did you know that Peacock had released something for this franchise?
No, but it doesn't surprise me with the current landscape of entertainment and how everything has to turn into streaming content. I didn't know that, but then when I looked it up and saw, okay, there was a sequel that led into the TV show that's also going to be on Peacock, I said, yeah, I know that's the game now.
Content is king, right? These studios really need content for these streamers. It seems like a good property that should have had something a long time ago, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. Seems like Will Ferrell's not attached to any of this stuff, right?
I don't think so, but honestly, I've not dove in yet, so I'm not real sure. But yeah, I don't. I'm not sure. I'm gonna check it out though because I'm curious about it. So what is it about this movie for you, Phil, that's working? What is it overall that you like about it? Is it the voices, the act, voice acting, or the story? Is it everything? What do you think?
I think it's a good comedy. I think it's a good story. I think it's a good parody on a lot of stuff that if you're a superhero fan, it kind of flips some of the tropes we already know on their head,
Mm,
and I think that makes it work. Um, but yeah, just starting right away with the origin story because we all know Superman's origin story, and just adding that other wrinkle to it, and continuing to tell like this interesting story of kind of like nature versus nurture in there as well. That it's a
mm.
little heady for a cartoon, but when I was watching it this time, I was like, oh, that's definitely intent. Like how much your environment has effect on you.
It's the Trading Places plot,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, $1 bet. Just saying. Billy Ray versus Louis Winthorpe. One's raised in a great environment, the other one not so much. One's got opportunities, the other one not so much. And how will they turn out? I mean, dude, you're right. And look, the tropes, we'll talk about that too here, man, because I started reading reviews of this and I didn't know a lot of the criticisms on this movie was based on the idea that it's not treading any new ground with a lot of the plot points and story ideas. What do you think about that?
I don't think that I don't think that it did anything that new, but I do think it was like a interesting take on a superhero movie because we've seen so many of them. And I mean, how many up to that point had we seen where the supervillain was the main protagonist?
I like that. Dude, I like the twists and turns, man. I read that review and I'm like, guess I can kind of see where the complaint's coming from, but it kind of seems like a petty thing. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. It's easy to think about like the Incredibles and whatnot. Like what similarities do you see here between other animated films of this sort, or do you?
There's some similarities to Incredibles for sure that I saw.
Mhm.
Particularly with the Titan character, there's similarities to Syndrome.
Oh, that's fun stuff. I gotta say, I think I like Syndrome a bit better than I like Titan.
No, Syndrome is absolutely a better character.
Yeah, and plus, I do like the fact that he spelled the name wrong in the movie here.
Titan.
Titan is in Titan because he's kind of dumb. He's kind of dumb. But what's funny on the closed captioning? It was spelled Titan, as in tightening the screw, through the entire closed captioning of this movie.
Yeah, I think it's spelled that way in the closing credits as well.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah.
Doesn't he
Jeez.
at one point when he's using his laser vision he spells it Titanville the same way?
Yes. Like into the city. Yeah. Jeez, man. Yeah. It's fun. I mean, it's a fun flick. I think there's twists in this for me personally. Because, like, and we'll get to it, but like one of the main characters not actually being gone was a huge twist, I thought. I didn't see that coming at all, did you?
Yeah, no, I didn't see that coming. I mean, that was a very gruesome death, and you know how it goes. Usually we go, we didn't see the body, so he's still here, but they made sure to show us the body in a very like ridiculous way. So it's like, oh yeah, this guy is gone.
Right. The way they did it was kind of graphic, but it was just a plain skeleton. But then when you find out later what happened, it tends to make a heck of a lot of sense, which is cool.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, don't know if I would consider that kind of a kids movie move, but hey, I don't know.
Yeah, there's a few things here that it is a kids movie in the way that it's presented. But there are a lot of themes here that are very adult.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Not the least of which is the relationship between the two of the main characters here, romance and whatnot. So well look, let's dive into this because I'm anxious to talk about it here. As we said before, the plot of this, and usually we tackle this last, but I want to get to it here. Supervillain Megamind and his arch nemesis, the superhero Metro Man, are both aliens of different species who were sent to Earth as infants before a black hole consumed their planets. They both land in Metro City simultaneously. Metro Man is raised in a mansion, while Megamind is raised in a prison. What a great little spot when that craft lands in that prison. Those prisoners are like, what do we do with him? And they end up raising him And he's like making license plates and stuff, man. I really popped over that. That's really well
Yeah.
done.
Yeah, yeah, just the fact that it looked like he was heading toward that mansion at first, and then Metro Man's pod knocks it into the prison, and then uh, he lands like perfectly into that house under the Christmas tree, and the woman's like, "Ooh, a baby." He's like, "Yeah, I thought you would like it."
Yeah. Never takes the paper down, by the way. And look, he's got a reason to hate Metro Man from the start, dude.
Yeah,
For sure.
definitely has immediate reasons to resent him.
Yeah. And at the school they both attend, Metro Man is well liked by his classmates, perfect hair, invulnerability, he can fly, and Megamind is relentlessly bullied until he reaches his breaking point, of course, setting off the rivalry. And he's got no powers except for his hyper intelligence, right? Like, I thought that was a nice twist as well. He's kind of like if this were Brainiac and Clark Kent being sent to Earth at the same time, except it's a comedy, maybe. I don't know.
Yes, yeah, it's an interesting parody off of the Superman stuff, but also Mega Man is kind of like a mix of more than one Superman villain.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, his origin makes a lot of sense. I did think it was hilarious that the baby lands in a prison, and the prisoners are like, "Hey, can we keep it?" And then the
Yeah.
warden there doesn't see anything wrong with this. Like, "Hey, maybe we should get this baby out of this prison." He
Right.
he waits until he starts doing illegal things too, and he's like, "Oh, let's put some cuffs on this guy and keep him in jail." Like, wait a minute, this is a kid.
This is a
Not
kid,
supposed to
yeah.
be here.
Why don't you just notify the authorities when he landed? What's going on? Yeah, that seems kind of odd, but yeah. Yeah, it's funny how he ended up there and he ended up staying there because he started breaking the law, you know?
Yeah,
So we know Will Ferrell is in the lead here. I mean, he's got a very distinct, to me, I guess because I'm used to seeing him. I don't know if you would refer to this as a very distinctive voice or not in terms of animation, but I think it's good. I think it fits. I think it makes a lot of sense. And I like the idea that Will Ferrell's a traditionally plays the good guy, but this is kind of a different take for him. But I love that there's like Will Ferrell's kind of his own touches here, like mispronouncing words like Metrocity instead of Metro City, which is really good. What do you think about Will Ferrell in the title role here?
um, I think Will Ferrell's performance is the only place where I can see where people are like, "This is a lot of retread for him," because uh, he and Vince Vaughn have played this character multiple times, where they start off as like this arrogant bad guy that's just misunderstood, and then by the end of the movie, he learns the betterment of his ways because he meets
Mm,
a woman. I feel like we've seen a Vince Vaughn or Will Ferrell movie that's like that more than once, and even the stuff of him, he's like hyper intelligent, like you said, but also he mispronounces words and he has bad social cues, and he's actually seems sometimes to be kind of dumb,
mm.
which is again another Will Ferrell character trait that he adds to a lot of his movies. Like, I mean, that's Anchorman. Like, he mispronounces things in Anchorman a lot.
That's true. Yeah, he does it a lot here. Revenge, like there's other things he's mispronouncing like crazy.
Revenge.
Yeah, I feel I guess you could make the case for getting another actor who's maybe more traditional voice actor, but obviously if you're going to make a big budget animated film, you want to get a star, you want to get someone people already know or
Yeah.
whatnot. But I mean, I thought he did a fine job here.
I thought he did a fine job in being that he is hyper intelligent, but the gaps where he does seem like he's not very bright is because he dropped out of school, so he didn't continue his education, and so he doesn't know like some of the formal parts of English. He also has never had a bunch of friends, so he wouldn't understand certain social cues, and he's an alien, so
Right. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, him being an alien kind of excuses a lot of stuff for his behavior and like he's got a flair for the dramatic, a lot of grandstanding. We have to say also, Phil, right off the bat, this movie's got a great freaking soundtrack. Like they do a lot of stuff with music honestly, dude, the music accentuates this movie quite a bit, doesn't it?
It does. He's always got some big music. He's always making a grand entrance.
Yeah, and then him saying, what does he say? There's a big difference between you and me. Presentation. What do you have that I don't have? So good. Oh my god,
Yeah,
because it's so true.
yeah. I think his entrance into the fight with Titan is the best. When he opens it with a Highway to Hell and like the clouds are gathering around Titan and he was like, "No, no, 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 you're a villain. I am a super villain." He was like, "What's the difference between you and me?" And he comes sliding down the tongue,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
he's
yeah.
like, "Presentation."
I love it, man. That's so good. Then he had Welcome to the Jungle playing behind him, which is awesome. You know, it just
Yeah,
fits. It just fits, man.
yeah. I said Highway to Hell. Highway to Hell plays at another point in the movie. You're right. It's Welcome to the Jungle.
Hmm. Yeah. Wow. That's so good. Like I said, soundtrack's killer, man. I really enjoy it. I just think it brings something else to it. Plus, it's an animated film that looks like it's for kids and it's got hard hitting rock music in it. That's different too.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. So, first of all, I really enjoy the animation, but I will say this. There are times when, like, Roxanne Ritchie's face just looks, I don't know how to describe it, devious. I don't know. You know what I mean? The way that the features are angled. And I'm like, isn't she the heroine? Shouldn't she have soft features and not be like, I don't know, hard edge? It's just the animation, I suppose, the way the character's drawn. But I do bump into a few things here and there. Nothing bad. What do you think about the animation of this film?
I like it. The Roxanne thing, her kind of like hard features, and even like her explaining to Megamind that, well, Megamind in disguise that she never had a relationship with Metro Man, and I'm like, oh, it's a play off all of the Lois Lane stuff because Lois Lane has this hard edge to her, and she doesn't fit next to Superman if you just look at them on the surface.
Right, right, right. Yeah. I found that to be interesting. They didn't have anything. Also, I'm bouncing here hard, but like when Titan visits her, it looks like her balcony looks like Lois Lane's balcony from the first Superman movie.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are a bunch of references here to Superman. Um, when when Megamind tricks Titan and he's trying to go and train him, and he does some very Marlon Brando voice for his alien dad. It's so funny. He looks like
Awesome.
Marlon Brando, but then he's also like doing the voice from Godfather.
Right, right, right. Yeah, dude. I really enjoyed that stuff, man. I thought that was really well done, honestly. I was here for that. And, I like the fact that there are very distinct, different character models. Like Megamind looks nothing like Metro Man. I mean, obviously, Metro Man's got blessed with human like DNA, so he doesn't stand out in a crowd. And then Megamind is like, he obviously looks like an alien. You know what I mean? I
Yes,
mean, it's that kind of thing that separates the two. And at some point, you're like, this guy didn't have a choice but to be a villain, you know?
yes,
Speaking of Metro Man, Brad Pitt, right off the bat, dude. Brad Pitt continues to be one of the most fun guys. And maybe look, we've said it before about other actors or whatnot, but like maybe he's the biggest douchebag you've ever met in your life. But man, he sure doesn't come off that way. He just seems like, I don't know, maybe he is, Phil, but man, he's so likable. And I think it was absolutely the right choice. What do you think about Brad Pitt here as Metro Man?
yeah. I think he fits perfectly because he fits this idea of like what you would think is like a celebrity or a super masculine role model. And so of course him coming in, he's kind of got like his like surfer vibes that he's had for most of his career. And he's just like, yeah, he's the ultimate showsman. I love that he's kind of got like an Elvis thing going, but also like I said, he's got this big kind of like going with the flow way of looking at the world, which of course he could because we saw where uh where his pod landed, and it seemed like those people were well to do. So he had no worries. He never had any worries, and so he's just kind of like, yeah, whatever. I'll just in this whole situation with Megamind and just get back to normal.
Yeah,
Uh
yeah.
the scene where he is moving in super speed because he realized that they have done this back and forth over and over again. So he just leaves and he's just walking around all these places where everything else in slow motion. It's so funny because it goes on for so long. And he's just like walking around doing all of these things, like reading books. And then he was like, and then that's when I came to the decision I'm going to fake my death.
Right. Like, how fast is this guy, man? How much time did he really have? Like, that was really good. And speaking of moving around, supposedly he did not do the voice, he meaning Brad Pitt, from a sound booth. He used a handheld microphone and moved around the studio to record his lines.
That tracks. This just sounds like such a Brad Pitt thing to do.
You know what's cool is that this was supposedly also this movie was pitched as a live action film. I got to be honest, man. I think a live action Megamind in 2024, because of where we are with CG, I don't know if it would have worked in 2011. It would totally work today, man. What do you think about? And I don't know if there's any chatter or not. I have no idea, kids.
Boink Studios is the home of Tom Clark's Main Event, Tom Clark's 6M podcast, and Two Nations Under Ted, a Ted Lasso podcast. Visit the site today for links to every podcast platform, social media, special announcements, and a lot more. Check out the site and bookmark today, boinkstudios.com.
What do you think about the idea of doing this as a live action? I mean, is that too far off or no?
Yeah, I can see it working. Very big budget with all of the special effects. I mean, the money that they spent on all of those songs that they use and licensing alone is probably crazy.
It's like a Ready Player One budget, I would imagine.
Yeah.
You know, just to use the properties. That's a good call. Yeah, geez, I didn't think about that. Yeah. As I was watching it today, I was like, man, this could totally be a live action movie. So here, look, I don't know if you know this. This will explain a lot. The film's plot was based on the premise of what if Lex Luthor defeated Superman?
Yeah, that makes sense because Megamind has a lot in common with Lex Luthor and Lex's jealousy of Superman. But then we also add like the alien aspect and the super intelligence. It's kind of like a brainiac thing, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. Plus his appearance and whatnot,
Yeah.
kind of lends itself to that. We know that Ben Stiller is in this movie. Supposedly Ben Stiller and another superhero dude, Robert Downey Jr., were both originally approached for the role of Megamind, but turned it down due to scheduling conflicts. So, yeah, Stiller's here, but only as Bernard. That's interesting. Guillermo del Toro was hired as a creative consultant 3 weeks before the film completed production. He majorly assisted in editing the film to make it more exciting. That's an interesting bit.
Oh wow.
Yeah, dude. I saw his name in the credits. I'm like, I don't remember Guillermo del Toro being here when that happened. That's fun. You mentioned the Elvis connection earlier. Metro Man's persona was based on Elvis. There you go. Have you ever gone down the rabbit hole of whether or not Elvis actually faked his death and disappeared to live quietly somewhere?
No, but I didn't even make that connection now that I'm thinking about like not only is his costume and everything and the way he like stands and everything is like Elvis, but also the idea that he faked his death. I didn't even think about that.
Right. Yeah, the white suit and everything. Yeah, dude, the cape. I've went down that road before. It's almost like the Paul is dead stuff.
Yeah.
Like it's fascinating. It's fascinating because if any one of you kids out there have seen that latest Elvis flick, like you can feel a certain kind of way about Elvis the man all you want to. That's completely fine. And you're entitled to your own opinion. I totally get it. But man, the fact that this guy was used so hard by, the colonel, I guess. But the idea that he was used and just prayed out like a puppet on a string, that kind of thing. And just, his name, his likeness, money being taken, all this other stuff. And it's like, yeah, I can kind of see, Phil, where the pressure would get to a man to a point where it's like, I got to get out of here. It's cool that they did that here with Metro Man. I've never seen anything like it. Let me say that, Phil, real quick. I've never seen anything like this movie when I saw it. I think there's some pretty cool stuff here, dude. Not the least of which is the Elvis thing.
Yeah, I agree. I think the ties to pop culture, I think like the on the nose parodies of like comic book tropes and everything. I liked it. Because I mean, even Megamind, it's kind of like you have these dueling versions of a rock star going against each other.
Mhm. Oh, good point. Yeah. I like that too.
Because isn't Megamind's character like the way he dresses and everything is very much based off of like I want to say Kiss, but like even just like that era of like hair metal. I mean, could I be? I could be off.
I don't think you're off. I can see that. I don't know if that is the fact here. I'll dig, but I can kind of see that. Maybe a little bit of Bowie thrown in, and the Kiss thing I can definitely see because of the spikes and whatnot. No, that makes sense. We talked about him mispronouncing names. It happens 20 times throughout the movie. That's cool. Not the least of which is Metrocity, which kind of sounds like atrocity.
Atrocity.
Yeah. He gave it away at the end, didn't he? He had Titan fooled
Yeah.
until he called it Metrocity.
Yeah, Titan comes back. The only person I know that calls this city Metrocity is you.
Yeah. I mean, look, like credit to Titan for being smart enough to figure that out. Did you catch the Ark of the Covenant, by the way, in Megamind's treasure room?
No, I didn't.
It's in there. Yeah. I saw the blurb and I'm like, wait a minute, what? And I went back and there it is. That's pretty cool. This film was originally titled Mastermind. However, that name had already been trademarked by the makers of the 1970s board game and TV show Mastermind. It was suggested as Ubermind, a misspelling of the term and spelled with two O's instead of UB. But the word Uber refers to something that is large or great. The title character's overswollen skull / brain. This didn't sound right and was revised to Megamind. Good choice. Speaking of the animation, Phil, Metrocity, just the city, took up 1 terabyte of disk space with over 90,000 buildings and roads.
Wow.
Yikes. Kidding me? I think the film looks really good, dude. I said what I said about her appearance, but like your point's well taken, and I think it's good. But man, like just the smoke in the beginning of the film when he brings down the sun's rays. I mean, like there's stuff all through the film that I'm like, man, that looks really good, you know?
Yeah, I think animation wise, like the stuff they did with particles and hair and like all of the smaller details, I thought looked very, very good. But that's really like DreamWorks bread and butter, like from like the Shrek era up. They really had revolutionized 3D animated films.
Yeah, that's true. Do you prefer Pixar to DreamWorks? Do you have a preference? What do you think?
I mean, Pixar had their run where they just were hit after hit after hit. Um, DreamWorks, they struck it gold with the Shrek franchise, and then they had a few other wins, but it's tough to beat Pixar. That's why the mouse wouldn't bought them, man.
That's
I
true.
saw what they were doing. It was like, nah, y'all got to come over here. Like, enough. Like, bring that lamp and the ball over here.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Yeah, I remember when DreamWorks was first introduced. I mean, I remember Pixar's introduction too, but at the time I was thinking, man, someone's going to try to rival Pixar. Good luck. But man, they've done not a bad job in the years following, actually.
Yeah, they've had some pretty good
Mm-hmm.
movies, some pretty big hits.
Yeah. So we've got the two main stars here. Let's also talk about the damsel in distress. And of course, this is Tina Fey as Roxanne Ritchie. What do you think about the character, the Lois Lane connection? 100% there. What do you think about Tina here as Roxanne?
I think she's great. I think she's funny. I think she fits that vibe of being independent and adventurous. And, the fact that the Lois Lane thing is so dead on because she does so many things that Lois would do, like figuring things out before Superman or Metro Man figured it out. Um, I love like initially when he kidnaps her and she's just like, this is boring, that's boring, this is lame. And she's just like not scared about anything he's doing. She's just like completely taking him down a peg every time he says something.
Yeah, she's not scared of him really because they've been through this song and dance of him kidnapping her for years. What they're leading you to believe. It's really funny, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed that quite a bit. Yeah, I enjoy her here too. I think she's really good. I think it's again, none of the three of these folks are known as voice actors. They're not particularly known for the sound of their voices, which is different. I mean, I guess Phil, honestly, that you can argue that's good because you're not watching a movie where it's obviously Gilbert Gottfried doing a voice. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I know it's that bird, but that's Gilbert Gottfried. I freaking know who that is. But like, I don't really bump into that here. Like, it's Ferrell, but I get into the film and I don't really think about it's him doing the voice after a while.
Yeah, I mean, J.K. Simmons, I recognized him right
That's
away.
fair. Yeah.
I think Tina Fey. I mean, like I recognized her voice, but it wasn't like it didn't feel like Tina Fey. Like it didn't feel like this was one of those. And starring Tina Fey, it just felt like
All right.
a natural fit.
Mm-hmm. That's a good call. Yeah. Yeah. No one's really manipulating or controlling any of the action here. It's an ensemble cast for sure. As the warden, J.K. Simmons is just crushing it, man. Like I love that he's included here too. Yeah, God, man, this cast is really good, by the way. And let's talk about Minion. And is this before Despicable Me, by the way?
I don't. This movie came out in 2000.
This was 2011. 2010, I'm
Okay,
sorry, 2010.
Despicable Me
Because his sidekick
was
is called.
around that time period, probably 2011,
Yeah,
20.
something like that. I mean,
So they're probably
I
close.
was going to say, because his sidekick is called Minion, which is, yeah, I don't know. I guess that, again, I haven't seen this film in a long time, kids. So it just didn't occur to me that, wow, there's a character here named after another character. Let's see, the first film was in 2010. Yeah. Same
Okay.
year.
Yeah, I think there's a joke I saw about the new movie and the TV show that he changed his name because another like fast food franchise had had been using it or something, so he had to change his name.
Right.
So in the new movie and the show, he's just Old Chum.
Old chum. That's good. Jonah Hill as Hal Stewart / Titan. Now, all right, fine. If you say to me, I'm going to play this movie, I'm not going to tell you who's in it. I could pick out Ferrell. I could definitely pick out Jonah Hill. I think he's really good in this role.
Hmm.
The character aesthetic is kind of spot on. He's kind of your typical loser guy that doesn't really have a lot going for him. He's got a crush on Roxanne. But I thought Jonah Hill was really good here, dude.
Yeah, I thought he was great. And this is again where I could see where like some of the retread stuff is, and like these actors and archetypes that they've played for a good amount of their career. Jonah Hill has played a character like this more than once, and that's why he fits well here.
Mm.
But he's played a version. I mean, like there are bits of this that are very close to his super bad character.
Yeah.
And him spending most of the movie trying to get the girl, but he's also like he doesn't understand like why she wouldn't go for him and all these other things. He's missing certain social cues. But he is very funny here. The part where he tries to convince her to come to his party, he's like, "Yeah, I got a bounty house and all these other things." He's like, "Yeah, well, I don't really want to be around a lot of people." He's like, "Well, it would just be just the two of us." And she was like, "Oh."
Yeah. He just can't
Like she can't even cover the fact that it's weird. She was like, "That's very weird," but all right.
Yeah. He can't understand why she doesn't love him, especially after he gets superpowers. He just doesn't understand it. Like, what's the problem?
He's just coming on way too strong and being very, very weird. Um, but yeah, he's very funny here.
When he gets her off the balcony, he's like, he takes her, she didn't want to go flying. He's like, oh, well, I'm here to save you. And he drops her. He freaking dropped her. He's like, by the way, I just saved you. You're welcome. He's all like full of himself and stuff. I'm like, you're the reason she almost died here, man.
Yeah,
Oh,
very funny.
it's good.
Love, again, after when he tries to invite her to the party, and then she says no, and he goes down and he like punches the side of the van. He's like, "Why would you get a bounty house? Women don't like bounty houses."
Yeah, he's upset with himself. If his name
Stupid van hurt my hand.
Yeah. If his name sounds familiar, kids, it should. Hal for Hal Jordan and Stewart for John Stewart, both Green Lanterns.
Yes. But yeah, because I'm sure a lot of people would immediately see the connection to Superman with the Space Dad and him doing like the Marlon Brando stuff.
Mm.
But also, the idea that a small alien picked him to be a superhero is a tie to Oa and those small men on that planet picking the Green Lantern.
Yeah, the hair does kind of look similar too.
Yeah, it does. Like that's what I immediately thought of when I was thinking of like the parodies to DC characters, and I was like, oh yeah, like the big hair, like the robe that he's kind of wearing. Yeah,
Yeah, for sure. And we talked about the prison where Megamind is raised in, where he lands. It's called the Metro City Prison for the Criminally Gifted. I love that. And that's a play on Professor Xavier's School for the Gifted in X-Men. So that's nice too. A lot of superhero Easter eggs here.
yeah. His shul that he went to after that.
Yes, the shul. Wonderful. His car, his invisible car, is a heavily modified 1950s Hudson Hornet, which is cool.
Yeah,
It's a combination of the Batmobile and Wonder Woman's invisible plane.
yeah. Yeah. When I look at it, and again all of the parodies to and connections to other Superman tropes, like you said, the invisible jet and the Batmobile, and of course, just the way he and Minion sit in the front is very much uh like the '60s Batman movie or Green Hornet, because the car is a literal hornet.
It's a literal Hornet, yeah, for sure. Bruce Campbell, he was originally considered for the voice of Metro Man before DreamWorks decided to cast an actor with more star power. But Campbell's face was partially used as inspiration when designing Metro Man.
Oh yeah, I could definitely see it. Just the way his grades are coming in definitely looks like Bruce Campbell. I mean, his facial structure and everything. Yeah, definitely see it.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. A lot of good stuff here. Let's see. More on the animation. The giant Megamind brain bot, the head in the finale, is made of nearly 10,000 individual brain bots. That's a lot of artwork, Phil. Holy Lord.
No.
A lot of CG happening there. Yikes. That is such a grand finale. What a great third act of this movie, by the way, man. It's so good. So good. When he comes back, dude, wow. Metro City is located in Michigan. This can be clearly seen in a shot where Megamind's satellite is in orbit around the Earth. So there you go.
I don't think I noticed
I
that.
don't think I did either, but evidently clearly seen. But I missed it, so you know. What did you think about the posters of Megamind? The No You Can't.
I thought that was very funny. That time period
Yes.
and like the Obama administration, everything. But yeah, the No You Can't with the play off of the Obama posters was very funny. Um, there are a few references to stuff like that politically that were pretty funny.
Oh, I love that so much. Megamind's the CFX worked with a professional tailor early in production to learn more about clothing design, tailoring, fitting, and other cloth properties so the simulated garments can more accurately mimic real life. The artists sewed their own capes and wore them while doing serious research and development, such as flying on rope swings, zip lines, and indoor skydiving. Interesting.
Yeah, like I think the cloth and hair in the movie was very well done. I think like all of the smaller details that they got into, because I mean the city itself is very like vast and detailed, but just like so many things like blades of grass and stuff, uh, just had like such great detail to it.
And you know, not for nothing, Phil, but hair is traditionally one of the hardest things to get right in animation.
Yes.
I mean, if any of you kids out there have ever suffered through the early SmackDown versus Raw games, I shouldn't say suffered.
Oh my god.
Remember how bad the hair used to be in those games?
Yes. But you know, video games, because they're low polygon, a lot of the hair that they use in that, and a lot of stuff that they were using, especially in those early games. I mean, now video games are totally different. Like the graphics are incredible.
Sure.
But yeah, that time period where we're getting the low polygon models with like those like, I forgot what that's called, where they, because essentially it's like you're creating the objects for the hair, and then uh it's like a map that they're putting over it. It's like a transparency map that they're putting over it to simulate hair. I think it's the alpha map. I think that's what it's called.
Interesting. Yeah.
But yeah, completely different time. Like this is before like people actually like doing like the particles and everything for like single strands of hair and actually animating it.
Before Unreal Engine 2.
Yeah, totally different time.
Yeah, this is the before time, but still a good looking movie. Yeah, for sure. Like, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I man, there's so many things like that I noticed as somebody that went to school for a lot of these things and like knows a lot about like the art and all the stuff that goes into this. Like even like the detailing on Megamind's skin and his face, and he has like the surface scattering on his ears, so you can see like where his skin goes from blood to like beet red at certain places, where you can see like the cartilage and stuff in his ear. Just all really well done.
Mhm.
I mean, just how defined his cheekbones are in animation and his facial expressions, just really, really well done.
Yeah, God, I'm really a fan of it. I think it just helps tremendously. To just, bad animation you're going to notice from the start, and honestly, it takes you out of the story. But I don't think you have any of those problems here at all, man.
Yeah.
We said at the beginning this movie made $320 million, but believe it or not, folks, that's one of DreamWorks' lowest grossing films.
Wow,
Dude.
I did not know that.
Well, back.
I figured this did pretty well.
So did I. Yeah, so did I. Yeah, I don't get that either. I'm rewatching it right now. Do you remember when he first became Bernard, and like they're walking into that place together because they found she found Mega Man's hideout, and he's walking and he's like swinging his arms from back and forth, just that ridiculous strut he's got, like he's trying to make her believe he's somebody else. So ridiculous.
Yeah, my favorite bit from when she finds his secret hideout, because she's just like, "Oh, well, it's the only building with this fake observatory on top." And he's like, "Oh," and then she's like, "Look, it's a map that says secret hideout."
Yeah.
And then Minion's like, "I kept losing the door."
That's right.
Yeah, there's so many funny bits from that scene. Or when she gets inside and he's like, "Yeah, let's go this way." She's like, "But that says exit." And he's like, "Yeah, that's short for exciting."
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's ridiculous. I love that too. It's good. Let's see. Minion, we mentioned Minion. This is David Cross. Man, did you ever get into Arrested Development? Like, do you know David Cross's stand-up? What do you know about this guy?
I did not get into Arrested Development. I know a lot of people that were on that show, but I never really watched it.
Yeah, the show was really good until they brought it back. And then when they brought it back, I'm like, yeah, this isn't a great show anymore.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta let things go, man. Sometimes it's okay to not try and reboot these things.
Yeah.
Aren't they making a Community movie?
That's what I hear. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
we'll see.
So I was just watching Donald Glover on something. He was doing an interview and he was talking about that. And he also it seems like this Lando movie is happening. He was talking about doing some work for Lando.
Wow. I mean, I'm glad, but wow.
Yeah. But yeah, I am familiar with David Cross from a bunch of other things. Very, very funny guy. Of course, he's in a Scary Movie.
That's right.
Very funny in that. He's in Men in Black. He's in a bunch of bits where he's very funny, man.
He's also in the third season of Umbrella Academy.
I've never seen any of that show.
Oh, dude, you would.
Are they good?
Dude, you'd love it. You'd really love it. It's really well written, dude. Like, I was sorry to see it go. I truly was. Maybe it was season 3 or 4, whatever's on right now is the final season of the show. And the way they end it, there is no way they're effing coming back. No chance. Tom Clark's 6M podcast is sponsored in part by Radius Law Group. Every day, Radius helps individuals, families, small businesses, and nonprofit organizations throughout North Carolina, Florida, and Pennsylvania resolve their legal issues by providing effective legal counsel in the areas of estate planning, as well as elder law and Medicaid. Radius Law holds the radical belief that working with a lawyer can indeed be enjoyable. So give them a call at 1-800-519-5667 for more information and tell them that Tom Clark's 6M podcast sent you. Because it's just, it doesn't end like terribly or anything. It's just the way they wrap it up. It's wrapped up. Dude, it's really good. If I were you, I'd check it out.
Yeah, but David Cross, he's been in a ton of stuff as a character actor. Very funny guy.
Yeah. I got into some of Mr. Show with Bob and David. It was him and Odenkirk, of course. But I can't say I watch religiously, but I've seen quite a few of them. And then his stand-up, man, David Cross's stand-up is very dry. He's got a very dry sense of humor. And it's pacing the act. It's not like one belly laugh after another, but I like it. I like his stuff, man. He's here. I love the idea that Minion is a fish. And so Megamind builds this big animatronic gorilla suit, like this exoskeleton for him to wear around. I freaking love the way it looks, man. Something about it just cracks me up every time I see it.
Yeah, again, big superhero tropes. That's very much based on like the brain in a jar that we've seen so many times for characters, or like the relationship between like Mala and like there's a Teen Titan villain that I'm drawing a blank on. It's a brain in a jar, and he has like a gorilla also.
That's right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, just the fact that the suit is like this big, like hulking, like gorilla S suit, but also a cyborg, very much plays off of superhero tropes.
I was thinking about the Ninja Turtle villain.
Oh, Crane.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. It is a trope. It's been done before for sure. But I'm okay with it. I think it fits, you know?
I think Minion is hilarious in this movie. When he shows up with Megamind to try to train Titan, and Megamind has his disguise because he's using a watch, and he just puts on an apron and a wig over
Yeah.
over the globe on his head, like, yeah, I'm your stepmother. I had some work done.
Yeah, I'm your space stepmother. Yeah, whatever you call himself. That's so good. So hokey, but I was here for it. Yeah.
Yeah. Which I love when Titan finds out everything, and he then has the big fight with Megamind, and he's just like, this for making a fool of me as my space dad, and this is for making a fool of your stepmother. How could you do this to her?
Yeah. At the beginning, when he's trying to fire up the death ray, he's like, "Death ray readying." He's like, "Let's see if Metro Man can withstand the full concentrated power of the sun. Fire!" And nothing happens. He's like, "Still warming up, sir." He's like, "Come again." Warming up.
He's got the old Apple iOS loading screen.
Yes. He's like, warming up. The sun is warming up just a little bit.
Yeah. So
yeah.
The whole time he's trying to monologue him. Yeah, that scene is very funny.
What about they use phrases for codes instead of code 47? It's code, I don't need you. Code, I'll just pack my thing and go, you know.
Yeah, very funny that they think that they're talking in coded language. They're just outright saying what they want to say with code in front of it.
Yeah, outright saying it. Oh, man, I'm here for that. Yeah, I like their little relationship. It's pretty cool. Because really, he's the only family this guy has, honestly, after everybody kind of turns on him. But yeah. So J.K. Simmons, we mentioned. Ben Stiller is here as Bernard. Christopher Knights is the prison guard. He's here. Tom McGrath, the director, is also a prison guard. And Lord Scott. Jack Blessing is a newscaster. Justin Theroux is here. He's a Megamind's parent. He and Jessica Schultz are Megamind's parents. Rob Corduroy, who was also on Blade's Glory, was a random citizen.
Random citizen is great.
We got to talk about this director real quick, man. This guy, let me just tell you something. Talk about animation. Cool World was his first directorial credit in 92. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. Space Jam, Hercules and Xena, the animated movie, How the Grinch Stole Christmas in 2000, Cats and Dogs in 2001, Madagascar, Shrek the Third, Madagascar 2, Monsters vs. Aliens, Megamind, of course, here, Puss in Boots, Madagascar 3, Mr. Peabody and Sherman, Penguins of Madagascar, The Boss Baby, Paws of Fury. He's the animation guy, man. And looks like he got his start as an animator on the Ren and Stimpy show.
Wow, that's quite a career.
Yeah, man. Crazy. Love Ren and Stimpy, dude. Did you ever get into Ren and Stimpy?
Yes. Great show.
Love that show. He, this guy's an acclaimed director for sure, man. Awesome. So the film is written, as we said in the beginning, by Alan J. Schoolcraft and Brent Simons. Again, like we know, it was first titled Mastermind, then Ubermind. And then, of course, we know that Ben Stiller was going to be Megamind and later Robert Downey Jr. Del Toro came on board 3 weeks before the end of production and then had a more substantial role. The opening of the film, by the way, the entire film is a flashback. I love that. I know that's an outdated trope too, Phil. It's kind of like you're probably wondering how I got here. Well, let me tell you. And then you start doing the thing. I think it works sparingly. I love that concept here, though, man. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Del Toro also apparently convinced him to cut 7 minutes of finished animation from the movie. So yeah, tighten it up, man. That's one of Kevin Smith's sayings. Like he enjoys the editing process, and most directors don't, or a lot of directors don't. But he's like, don't fall in love with it. Just tell the story, get in and get out, and be done. Like if the film doesn't need it, take it out. The soundtrack is awesome, as we said before. AC/DC's on here, Elvis is on here, George Thorogood and the Destroyers, of course. But see, here's the thing: using the film, these songs are used in the film. But for the actual soundtrack that I guess you can download, you're going to have to download it as a playlist, Phil, because it's not actually on the soundtrack.
That would have been a lot of moving parts. That would have been a lot of artists to pay to get that all on the same soundtrack.
Yeah. Crazy Train. Do you like when Minion was singing Crazy Train? And he's like, going off the rails on a crazy train, sir. And he's like singing to him. It's so funny.
Yeah, several parts
Oh.
where he was like either singing something or making a mistake with the music. When he kills Metro Man, where he thinks he kills Metro Man, and they come marching into the city, and he's behind them with the boombox, and he's like, "Cut that off!" And then he
Yeah,
keeps trying to cut it off, and the Minnie Riperton song keeps coming on.
that's so good. Yeah, that's so fun. I was really here for that. Yeah, I enjoyed that quite a bit. The bots, so the brain bots, are very similar to the things used in what was the movie? We talked about this. We talked about this briefly on Blades of Glory. Meet the Robinsons. Like, then they have creatures similar to
Yes,
that. Yeah, funny.
but yeah, very very super villain trope of having drones, having robotic minions. I mean,
Yeah,
very much something that Doctor Doom would do.
yeah, good call. Yeah. Originally, the writers were planning to let Megamind accidentally fuse Roxanne with Metro Man's DNA and turn her into a superhero or villain. That seems like the play that would have made sense too, and that would have been a trope as well, though, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think that felt more of the way to go, and that would have been an interesting story to tell. But once you put the romance aspect in there, it kind of doesn't work.
Yeah. Let's see. The dust coming off the throne building by Titan was composed. Back to the animation, kids. The dust off the building thrown by Titan was composed of over 13.5 billion animated particles. I can't even wrap my head around that. No chance. That is crazy. And this movie was nominated for stuff and won too. I mean, it should, man. There's a lot of good stuff here to enjoy, dude. No doubt. No doubt.
Yeah, very fun movie.
It is. Titan flying with Roxanne over the city is one of the most complex sequences to process. In the shot where Roxanne is being thrown over the building, it required 3,500 layers of compositing. Yikes. So see, Megamind is 5'5" tall. However, he is only 4.5 heads tall proportionally. This makes him the same head to body proportions as a toddler or a Lego minifigure.
That's funny.
That is funny.
But yeah, that is, again, depending on how much you know about comic art and just archetypes for characters. A lot of times, those kind of characters, like the big brain intellectual character, they make them like smaller than average, so that it works because you have like this big imposing character they're going up against, and a superhero that's probably like 8 or 9 heads tall, and then you have the smaller character that relies on their brain instead of brawn.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, when that's all you got, that's what you use. Yeah. So we talked about the distinctive looks. We were dead on the money with that. Each of the 3 superhumans in the film has a color scheme. Megamind's is variations of blue and black. Metro Man is coarse white and gold, and Titan is red and orange. I like that a lot. Very, very distinctive. So you'll like this one. Just under 100,000 storyboards were created for this film.
Wow.
100. Dude, try to be the guy in charge of all that.
Yeah, storyboarding is fun. It's just, boy, very time consuming, very tedious.
It is. I've used it in marketing campaigns, and it's work. It pays off because you get a real good, clear sense of what you want to do. But yeah, the work, it's almost more work than actually creating the video to begin with, honestly. The observatory was modeled after the Griffith Observatory outside of Hollywood. I do like that swerve that he pulled on her where she thought she was in the observatory and it was a mock. It was a mock-up. I really love that, actually.
Yeah, that was great. Because the whole time she thinks she's got him completely figured out, and he completely swears her.
Yeah, for real. I really like that. The home planets of Megamind and Metro Man are called Mega Planet and Metro Planet, respectively. This fact led to a fan theory that the city was renamed as Metro City to honor Metro Man, rather than Metro Man naming himself after the city. But the movie establishes that the city had this name before both babies landed on Earth. A welcome to Metro City prison sign can be seen as baby Megamind flies in.
Yeah, I had always assumed that because of the big statue and everything that they renamed the city.
Yeah, same
But
here. Yeah.
yeah, I guess I missed the sign.
So, according to director Tom McGrath, this film drew inspiration, of course, as we said, from the 1970s Superman, but also the Batman 1966 movie. I can totally see that.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, just the way that Minion and Megamind play off each other is very much similar to like the dynamic between like Burt Ward and Adam West.
Yeah.
And I thought that a lot when they're in the car together, and just so many things. Like, yeah, I mean, especially also just like the warden and everything, and um, just the look of the warden, and yeah, you can see it.
Yeah. When Megamind trains Hal, he uses a training regimen based on Hal's love of video games. This is similar to Kung Fu Panda, where Po was trained through food-based exercises. I mean, I get that. I don't know if why that's worth writing down here. Like, I don't know. I think that would make either way. It's interesting, but I don't know if there's. I'd say a connection. I don't know. You know what I mean?
I think it plays into Titan's character
Yeah.
because Megamind and Metro Man are very much of an older generation. You can see that with Metro Man. He's older, he's graying. And so their thought process around things is completely different because Megamind doesn't have he doesn't have social skills because of where he was brought up. Titan, on the other hand, doesn't have social skills because he stays inside and he plays video games.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's almost like he doesn't have social skills and he's doing certain things by choice. When he comes later and he's mad at him because he doesn't come fight him in his giant robot in the city, and he was like, "Of all the nerve, you're rude. You just stand me up." And he's just he's just in his apartment playing video game. You're this big giant superhero, and you're like hunched over your couch playing video games.
Because he makes a big show of it, and the guy didn't show up. That is so funny, dude. I love the look as contrived. I don't know if contrived is the right word, but as tropes or whatever you want to say, Phil, whatever the critics said, I don't really care. I love this plot. I love the idea that he just got so bored with being in charge that he had to create his own hero to fight.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's all built around this idea that Megamind is really good natured, and he just sees this as a game. He never really wanted to win the game. He just wanted somebody to pay attention to him, and he's got like this warped relationship with Metro Man where it's like almost like a frenemies thing.
Yeah,
he didn't really want to get rid of him. It's just the dance. It's the back and forth that they do,
right.
which is in some ways a play off of Batman and Joker.
Just what we did on the show, for sure. I thought that as I was watching this too, actually. That this thing's more connected to stuff we've done previously than I even thought about, for sure. I love the plot, man. I just don't, again, I don't know. People can like whatever they want to like, but I really enjoyed this movie, dude. I think the plot's really good. Let's see. Also, not just the Ark of the Covenant, the Maltese Falcon. You're going to have to go back and watch that treasure room scene again.
That's funny.
Man, it's so good. Metro Tower is 3,172 feet high, and that's 455 feet taller than the tallest building in the world, the skyscraper in Dubai, which stands at 2,720 feet. I know you kids were losing sleep over that. Well, I just told you. It's weird the quirky facts you look up and you find when you do one of these reviews, man. I like it.
Yeah.
This, we talked about it was like one of the lowest DreamWorks animated films. But it still stands as the fourth highest grossing superhero comedy film behind Incredibles 2, Incredibles, and Big Hero 6.
Wow.
Yeah. I kind of didn't see this being under Big Hero 6, if I'm being honest.
Beating the mouse, man. You got that you got the Disney promotion and advertising behind you. It's a little bit different.
That's fair. I wasn't a huge fan of Big Hero 6. I didn't hate it.
I really like it. But I also feel like it's part of that time period. Either if you're into the subject matter or you had kids at that time period, um, yeah, it was huge. All of that stuff with Baymax. Baymax was everywhere. Oh
Mm.
my god!
Yeah. Oh,
And
yeah.
that Imagine Dragon song that they played to death.
Yes. Oh my God. Big time. Yeah, no kidding. We keep giving the animators here a shout out. There are over 700,000 raindrops in a downpour during the scene where Megamind and Roxanne argue in the rain. That is awesome.
Yeah, I thought that scene was very well done. Not just because the rain looked good, the way everything looked in the rain.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I thought like the animation they did on each character's facial expressions was very good.
And the car was left there because that plays back into the third act.
Yes.
Kind of forgot he left the car there, I think. I think it stayed there the whole time. So the character Titan could be a play on DC Comics hero Superboy Prime or Bizarro. I didn't even see that Superboy Prime connection. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, Superboy Prime makes a lot of sense. Because of course Superboy Prime, if you know, you know, is very much based on petulant fans.
What? Such a thing doesn't exist. Bite your tongue. Yeah, by the way, the car stays there because he just walks away. This was the 7th best selling DVD of 2011. Another weird rando fact for you kids. Well, look, again, I could just keep filling you full of facts here. Again, this is just a fun movie. As we said in Blades of Glory, not a lot of deep meaning here. I mean, it's kind of the same thing here. It's an entertaining film. If you're a comic book fan, you'll get something out of it. You'll appreciate the damsel in distress, Lois Lane archetype. There's other archetypes here. We've already talked about that stuff. But I just feel like it works. I like the dynamic between Pitt and Ferrell. I think it's really well done. I like the fact, Phil, that they they found him at the end. By the way, when you first saw this, did you know that he had faked his own death? Did that just shock the crap out of you or what?
No, I didn't. I didn't. I wouldn't have guessed that he faked his own death. I did think that the way that they did their reveal was great. Um,
Yeah.
and there are a few reveals like that I thought were very well done. Uh, his initial scheme to break out of jail, where he has the watch sent, I thought that was very smart.
Love that watch. Man.
Uh, there's so many things that they do with like physical humor and stuff of him just just hunching down and hiding behind something that's very funny. Like he does that during the prison break where they bring the warden in because they think it's him because he's wearing a watch, and the whole time he's just hiding behind a chair. Um,
Yeah.
and when he jumps in the car at the invisible car to get the gun out of it, and Titan punches the door, and he's like crunched up into a ball, hiding behind the door.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, it's so good. Yeah, look, if I could have any tech from this movie in real life, it'd be that watch. That watch is awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what to do with it. Maybe I go be a villain. I don't know. I love that thing though. It's pretty cool. I'm here for that. Yeah. Well, again, I praise the artistry of this film because of the art that went into it. Everything else goes into it. I do like the voice casting. I like the cast. I'm going to check out what they've released this year because, dude, it took this long. 2024. It took 14 years for them to do anything else for Megamind. I'm glad they've done it. I can't wait to check it out, man. I mean, look, I don't know where we stand now, Phil. I can't answer this, and I don't know enough about these two new projects, but is there a future for this on the big screen if they wanted to go back to it? If you were going to do a sequel, how would you approach it? I mean, because it seems like this ends pretty happily here, unless you just introduce a new villain, maybe someone that forces Metro Man to come out of retirement. I mean, what would you do for a part 2 here?
It seems like from what I read, the sequel is just based on him trying to figure it out as a superhero. And I think that that's a good story. You could have done that sequel years ago, but when you didn't do it then, I feel like you kind of missed the opportunity while it was still hot. And now that we're in the streaming world and you're now creating the stuff for streaming, I don't see any way that it's probably going to go back to a feature film because it's clear what they want it for. They want it to get people to tune in to Peacock or whatever streaming platform it's on.
Yeah. Yeah, it is on Peacock, kids, if you want to check it out. I'm anxious to see it, man. I'm definitely going to give it a shot and see what it is. It's listed as being for kids, so I don't know if that means it's all the way to a G rating or something, but I don't know if that would devalue it or change it or would the characters sound differently if it were more for kids? Like, I don't have answers to those questions, but I'm definitely going to give it a shot and see what it's all about. Again, like I'm a fan of this. I enjoy it. I think everything's on par here. I mean, everything's working for me. Everybody can like what they want to like, but like I said, I really like this. I think it's working. It's clicking for me personally. I enjoy watching it. And maybe I've got more of a connection to it because, as I said, my kid was little when this thing came out. He was only 2, and man, this is one of the movies, Phil. We had like a little one of those little DVD cases. You know what I mean? Not a CD case, but a little single DVD case, and that thing was packed full. We had a little DVD player in the car, and we'd go on road trips or vacations. We'd bring that little case, and he had to have stuff playing all the time, and we always
Yeah.
had this movie playing. So I guess I just have a different connection to it, I suppose.
Yeah, very fun movie, like you said. A good plot.
Mhm.
It's got some real heart to it. Uh, like I said, the music is great. When we get to the climax of the movie, and he's got his celebration, and they've got Michael Jackson bad over it. It's so great, but
So
very kid friendly. It, of course, it has to end with dancing because why not?
why not? Even they're like choreographed. Him and Roxanne are choreographed. It's nice.
Yeah, Titan is in jail for some reason, dancing.
Why
Everybody's dancing.
why is Titan in jail, by the way? If the stuff made him crazy, why is he in jail? Because someone had to pay for the crime?
He started destroying things. I mean, really, the stuff didn't make him crazy. He wanted to do that stuff. He admitted he wanted to do it. He was like, "Yep, I want to steal things."
Yeah.
I love when I love when Megamind is telling him, "No, look, you have all of these gifts, and this is what you want to do with them. Take things." And he points right to his nose and was like, "Yep, exactly that."
Right. Well, here I am advocating for the villain, but I don't know. If not for the powers, Phil, would he have ever snapped and done something crazy? I don't know if he would have.
Well, I mean, I think you see early in the movie that he's not a great guy, and I think
Yeah.
Roxanne also makes that point when she finds out that he gave her powers. He's like, "That's the worst guy to give powers."
Yeah. Yeah. What did you think about the dialogue in this movie, man? We talked about the back and forth between characters. Is it snappy enough? Is it witty enough? Could there have been more jokes? Like, I don't know. Are you entertained through the whole thing by the dialogue? I mean, what's your take on that?
I think a lot of it is very smart, very witty. I think a lot of Megamind's dialogue is great. When he's in character as Bernard, and it just cuts to them at dinner, and he's talking. He's like, "Oh, that was a great story, so well told. Now you tell one."
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's good.
But yeah, he's got so many moments where he's quipping, like when he's quipping back and forth with Metro Man. It's so funny. Or when he's trying to get Titan to quip with him, and he's saying all of these things that he thinks is witty, and he's not responding at all. It's so funny.
Yeah, I do like the banter between him and Roxanne. I think it's freaking great, man.
Yeah.
It's awesome. They've got the bit where he had kidnapped her again. This is, she's in the doesn't know it's a fake observatory. But when she's looking around, she's like, "Is there some kind of nerdy supervillain website where you get Tesla coils and blinky dials?" And Minion's just gonna tell her. He's like, "Actually, most of it comes from an outlet store." And Megamind's like, "Don't answer that." And Minion's like, "Romania." He just whispers it to her. And he says,
Hilarious.
it's so good. He says, "No, she's using her nosy reporter skills on your weak-willed mind to find out all her secrets. Such tricks won't work on me." And Roxanne goes, "Please talk slower." Right? That's awesome. Megamind just says,
Yeah.
"Temptress."
There's so many bits of him either playing off something that was said earlier in the movie, which I do think they do very well at several points of doing callbacks. But yeah, even his one-liners are great. When he lands in the pond behind them, and he comes back up to beat Titan at the end. He's like, the thing about bad guys, they always lose.
That's great. What a great line. That's a great line. Yeah. And in the end, what was it when the crowd goes to thank him and he pulls out the ray like he's gonna shoot them all? It's like, "Oh, he's still got a problem with people, like trust issues or whatever." It's such a great moment, dude.
Yeah, they're all like, yeah. He's like, whoa, 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 get back, get back.
Oh, that's really fun. Yeah. Yeah, this again, man. And you know what? This is the kind of thing I could put on the background and do other work and still casually watch it. You know what I mean? It's just one of those movies too I like.
Yeah. But yeah, so many funny bits that are just kind of like almost throwaway when when Metro Man explains why he faked his death and he's telling the story, and it cuts back to Roxanne. She's just like, "You're horrible."
Yeah. He's like, well, it doesn't matter. You got to come back now, you know? And because she makes a comment, she says something toward Megamind, which is kind of like very rude. She's like, no offense. He goes, no, none taken, you know? And he's like, no, I'm done. At that moment, I'm like, what do you mean you're done? You're not coming back?
He's just like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna let this guy destroy the city. I'm not gonna do anything about it.
Yeah. Oh, well.
That's somebody else's problem."
Yeah. And he's like a musician and he can't sing. It's so bad.
He starts singing a song, and Megamind goes, "Look, you're very talented, but doesn't have anything to do with anything." It's like, well, wait, he's terrible.
Yeah, right. He sincerely complimented him. You're obviously very talented. Yeah. Oh, my. That's wonderful.
But I mean, it fits with his character because the first time I saw it, I was like, "Oh, this guy sucks." But now it's just like, well, wait a minute. It's a play off both of their characters. Of Megamind from an early age was taught that he could not be better than what he is. He couldn't do anything but be a bad guy. And in the same breath, uh, Metro Man was taught from the beginning, no, you're a great guy, and this is it. This is all you're supposed to be,
Mhm.
is to be like this shining symbol for everybody. He's just like, well, what if I don't want to do that? What if I literally want to be like Titan and just sit at home and strum on a guitar and play video games?
Right. Yeah. Well, hey, he's got a point, right? Like,
Yeah. And so I got it, but man, there are so many things about it that are very funny and cynical. Like when Titan is destroying the city, and it almost does like, well, I mean, this movie predates Into the Spider-Verse, but it does the same like mirror reflection of him looking at his suit from the glass, and the whole time he's holding the guitar and he just walks away.
yeah.
It's so funny.
He's like, Music Man was born. Roxanne's like, Music Man? He's like, yeah, that way I can keep my logo.
How's that gonna work? You faked your death.
Yeah. I'm finally free to get in touch with my true power. Weaving lyrical magic. It's ridiculous. And again, the banter with Roxanne and Megamind. She's like, what secrets? You're so predictable. It's like predictable. You call this predictable? And he opens up the alligator pool beneath her. She's like, your alligators. Yeah. I was thinking about it on the way over. And he's like, he pulls a hidden gun. He's like, what's this? Boom, in your face. She's like, cliche. It's like, no, look, watch. And he brings down a gauntlet of blades. She says, juvenile. And shock and awe. And he brings up a chainsaw. And she's like, tacky. And he's got spiked boots. And he's like, ooh, it's so scary. She's like, seen it. Like, no matter what he does, and he's got a flamethrower. He's like, what's this one do? And she's like, garish. It's awesome. Then there's a spider on him. And like it, oh my God, that's great.
Spider's new. Yeah, the speeder.
The
It's
speeder,
like,
yeah.
speeder. Like, what?
Oh, it's great. Yeah. And she just remember it's hanging, she just blows and it ends up on his face. That's great stuff. So well, look, I can just keep putting this movie over, but again, I'm a fan of this. I think it's really good. I would love to see something else. I'm gonna check out these two properties and I hope they're doing, if they're good, I hope they're doing well. Cause I'd like to see this. This just feels like a weekly or, like an episodic show like they did with Kung Fu Panda. I feel like this could become, and honestly, I don't know this for sure, but I think isn't one of those properties because it says one season. I figure it's a series. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a sequel. I believe there's a short.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's a sequel, and then they started the TV show right after the sequel.
And it just so happens it's all this year. Nothing was done till this year, so it just so happens we chose this and like boom.
We need content, man. Gotta churn all of this out.
I'm saying, yeah. All right. Well, we will attempt to put a bow on this. What is your last word on Megamind?
Yeah, just a really good family film if you want to find something that the adults and the kids can enjoy. There are some bits of it that you might have to explain to a kid that they might not understand, but nothing too bad. But yeah, I think it's a fun movie. If you like superhero films, if you like kind of those big budget action films, this is a nice spoof on those things.
Yeah, it's good. I'm like you. I think of all ages can enjoy it. I don't think there's too much people to have to explain. I think everything works. Again, great music in this movie. Animation, the CG's freaking fantastic. Everything's kudos to the guys behind it for sure. Just a highly entertaining movie. And it just goes to show you, kids, don't always believe what you hear about read from critics. Just make your own decisions. This thing, by the way, was nominated. There are no Academy Award nominations here for some weird reason. The 38th Annie Awards, it was nominated for several things. Nominated for other various things, Kid Choice Awards, National Movie Awards, Comedy Awards, but didn't win anything, apparently. But again, doesn't mean you shouldn't check it out. By the way, I don't know if I realized that there was did I know there was a video game?
I didn't know that.
Oh, Xbox 360 and PS3 version titled Mega Man Ultimate Showdown. And the Wii version is titled Megamind Mega Team Unite. Didn't know that. Megamind The Button of Doom is a 2011, the one you referred to, animated short film released on the Blu-ray with Megamind. So I guess they're not counting that as anything other than because it was released with the movie. So there you go. But until then, until this year, nothing else. So yeah, well, there you have it, folks. That's what we got for you. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Be sure to keep checking back. We release brand new episodes of the 6M every week. And of course, boinkstudios.com for all the links to all the podcasts and a whole lot more. And more coming. I'm sure we're going to dive into more Will Ferrell stuff as we go and more animation because, again, it's a lot of the stuff that we enjoy talking about here. Stay tuned for all of that. But for now, that is Megamind. Hey, thanks for listening to the show. Check out our social media on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at 6M Podcast. We'll see you next time.